In today's episode, my friends and I embark on an epic trip to the Nürburgring with our old junk. Get ready for an episode filled with parking lot fixes, Nürburgring laps, and off-road adventures.
All my friends, yellow rider.
Hey guys, so it has been a while since you guys have seen me making a video, and that is because I was on a pretty lengthy holiday, and right before that I had COVID, so pretty much it has been impossible for about 3 weeks to make a video. But now I am healthy again and I feel fully recharged, so it is time to get back into working on the cars. The Saab project is going to be on hold for about a week and a half, because this upcoming weekend it is time for our yearly Nurburgring trip. And if any of you are unfamiliar with that, it is a yearly trip that I take with pretty much all of my car friends who have classic cars. Only 25 years or older cars are allowed. And then we just spend some time at the Nürburgring checking out the tourist drives, driving ourselves and enjoying the beautiful roads that surround the region. This year I am going to take my Golf for the second time. Last year, unfortunately, I was still doing the engine swap and the car simply wasn't ready to go along with the trip. But this year it should be ready, and I'm actually really excited to take the car on the ring for the first time with the new engine. But before the car is ready for that awesome weekend, we are going to have to do a little bit of work to get it prepared. Okay, a quick summary for the people that haven't been watching this build. This is my 1982 Mk1 Golf that last year I engine swapped with this 2-liter 8-valve engine, and I also equipped it with these double Dellorto DHLA carburetors. In the last episode on this car we took it to the rolling road to set up these carburetors and also to see the final power figure, which was around 120 horsepower. If you have watched that tuning video, you know that we were using this Innovate AFR gauge together with an air fuel sensor to see if the engine was running too rich or too lean, and then adjusting the carburetors accordingly. This is a very handy tool that we are going to be using in this video as well. But unfortunately, since then, the air fuel sensor that is currently in my exhaust broke, and it actually happened by my own wrongdoing. So we are going to switch these out and I'll explain why it broke. There we have the little guy. Let's quickly take it out. You can see that the tip of the sensor is very dark and fouled, and I have actually read that that can cause these sensors to break. The reason for that is, I think, because I didn't wire in the sensor permanently. I only used it for when I was tuning the carburetors. So sometimes I would be driving the car around without having this thing plugged in, and that means that the heating element inside would also not be working during the operation of the car. And I think that might be the reason why this thing fouled very badly and therefore broke. But now we are going to fix that with a new sensor, and we are going to wire everything and mount it into the car permanently so that we no longer have that issue. Luckily, Volkswagen provided these center consoles with these round slots for gauges, so making this a clean install will be very simple. Okay guys, so this is what I came up with. We have the AFR gauge in the middle and then 2 dummy gauges on either side. I don't really have the time to wire these up, so for now they're just going to serve to fill up the empty holes that are there. But overall I think it looks pretty good. I have already done the wiring in the car and right here behind this thing, so we can go straight into dropping this thing in the car and see if everything works. Okay, so before I put in the screws, let's check if the gauge works at least. It does. That error is because the sensor isn't connected yet. That is what we're going to do right now. Okay, so final test. That seems to be working pretty well, so now we're going to go for a test drive and see if everything is okay with the mixture. So I noticed that the footage from the AFR gauge was a bit dark, so I didn't really continue filming anything. But basically I tweaked the carburetors a little bit more, and now the AFRs are 95% to where I want them to be. During the past few days I also have been doing some other stuff. I have installed some extra relays and also some work to the brakes. Nothing very interesting, you really didn't miss anything. But now it means that the car is ready to go on our journey. So I am going to hop in and first meet up with Greta. Hello, old friend. And some more friends joined the party, but we'll talk about all the cars once we meet up on our real meeting spot. Okay guys, so we made it to our meeting spot, and let me quickly show you all the cars that will be joining in our convoy. First of all, we've got a 1981 first generation Volkswagen Jetta Coupe on coilovers and Ronald turbo wheels. One copy and paste later there is another Mk1 Jetta, but this time a sedan, and it is actually the car that started in one of the very early episodes on my channel. Next we obviously have my Golf, which you already know, so we are going to skip right past it. Following up is the crowd favorite, our trusty Volvo Greta, which will be serving as our storage and support vehicle. Then we have a very nice Mk2 Golf from 1987 on coilovers and BBS RA wheels, which is a very nice combo if you ask me, and it is the last of the Volkswagens in our lineup. Starting off the BMWs, there is this 1992 E34 525 TDS with a performance chip, a bunch of suspension mods and a roof tent for added camping comfort. And last in this lineup is this bronzed beige BMW E34 on BC coilovers and with a 3.5 liter M30 under the hood. That is a quick summary of our lineup so far, but tonight there is one more epic car joining us in Germany. But before we can get there, we unfortunately already have some work to do because one of the cars has an issue. The 4-door Jetta arrived with a little bit more noise than usual, so something is up. The exhaust has started to rip apart at one of the silencers, which is quite dangerous because it could separate completely and then fall down on the road. So immediately we've got some work to do, but you can't work on an empty stomach, so first we went to an exclusive restaurant to enjoy some Swedish delicacies. Every single one of us forgot to bring axle stands, so some resourcefulness is needed to lift up the car safely. The thing is basically falling apart, but it is good that we spotted it now that we are still close to home. Some of the guys drove to the nearest welding shop, while the rest of us were doing timed hot laps around the parking lot. About an hour later, the guys returned with a fixed and reinforced exhaust, so only mounting it remains. Hey! Very quickly we had the OK, so we could finally get on the road to Germany. The sun was already setting once we arrived, so camp had to be set up quickly. And that was the moment that we heard one of Greta's cousins arriving in the distance. This awesome car is the last one joining in our group, and it is a lifted Volvo 740. It is built on the chassis of a Jeep Cherokee and has an eBay turbo slapped onto the side of its 6-cylinder diesel engine. Such an awesome car. And that basically was it for day 1, so we had a few beers and prepared ourselves for day 2. Okay boys, so it is now day 2. The first thing that we're going to do today is go for a little cruise to see if the cars are doing well. And then by the end of the day we are going to go for some laps on the ring. After some shenanigans we made our way back to the ring because it was time to do our first laps of the weekend. Okay guys, I'm on my phone right now. I already installed the camera. I hope it is at a good angle. We're going to go for the first lap of this weekend. I'm nervous because this is the first time that we're going to be testing this setup. So hopefully everything goes well. Wish me luck. So guys, I'm quickly pausing this video to let you guys know that in what is coming next you can see the highlights of all of my laps. But if you would want to see the entire lap from start to finish, I uploaded them to my second channel, and a link to that will be provided in the description below. Okay, here we go. Okay guys, I made it back to the campsite in one piece, and boy was that a hectic lap. There was pretty much people driving around me the whole time, and there was a big crash. So yeah, it was kind of a handful, but the car performed very well. It exceeded my expectations, apart from the fact that by the end of the lap my front brakes were pretty much on fire. There was smoke coming from both of the front wheels. So yeah, I still think I have an issue with my braking. Maybe I still need to upgrade them a little bit, but I didn't really feel any fading, so that is positive. But still, we were on the limit of the braking power. For the rest of the night, I think we are going to have a beer at our camping spot and celebrate that everyone has made it until here in one piece. And yeah, it's going to be a hell of a good time. For tomorrow, we are going to go for some more laps, hopefully, and I think we might also spectate a drift event. So yeah, looking forward. Day 3 started with us cleaning up our campsite. I yeeted all of my stuff in the back of Greta because I didn't want any junk flying around when doing my next few laps. After that second lap, I was keen to get a ride along in the lifted Volvo, so next 4 of us jumped in for a pretty epic time. The Volvo lap was awesome and we had a great time, but actually by the end of it we got kicked out because the thing was producing too much smoke. I think we had Nürburgring police driving behind us for about half a lap, so I knew already that something was up. And by the end, when we pulled up by the marshals, I think they yelled Rauch at us, which means smoke. So yeah, it was pretty clear that we were no longer welcome. But I still had my Golf, so I decided to go for one more lap, and then afterwards we were going to go for a cruise or spectate a drift event. But as you'll see by the end of these clips, it turned out a bit different. What happened to my exhaust is exactly the same as what happened with the red Jetta at the beginning of our trip, and to make matters worse, it is a Sunday, so there is no hope of getting it repaired. What happened with my exhaust is that there is a crack in the pipe where it goes into the mid silencer, and it is practically almost falling off. So I am going to try to drive the car home gently. So yeah, it's not going to be a fun journey, but I hope we make it back home safe. Okay guys, so I made it back home, but boy was that a stressful drive. I was constantly ready to throw the car to the side once the exhaust would snap, but luckily none of that happened. It was pretty loud though, my ears were ringing when I got back home. So yeah, as the last part of this video I'll quickly throw the car back onto the lift and then we can see how bad the damage actually is. Well guys, I think there is not much holding on this silencer anymore. It has sheared pretty much all the way through. Maybe here at the top there still is a little bit of metal left, but I think another 15 minutes of driving and the whole thing could have been on the ground. Actually, let's see with a few bangs if it would hold on. And there we have it, boys. That didn't take much. In hindsight, it doesn't really look like the exhaust would completely drop down onto the ground. I think this clamp might rub a little bit once in a while, but still, it wouldn't have been nice driving like this. So I'm happy that it held on for the drive home. Now I think it is time for maybe something else, something a little more sporty. Although I have to say that I really like how silent this thing is on the highway. So yeah, we'll see. So, some conclusions. The weekend was pretty awesome. I had the best time. I do apologize for the video sometimes being a little bit all over the place, but these weekends can get pretty hectic and sometimes I forget that I have to film some things instead of having a good time. The Golf exceeded my expectations and I have to say that the power that it has right now is perfect for me learning the track. So yeah, I do plan on going more to the ring after we obviously fix those little hiccups, but that's not a big deal. So yeah, I do know that I say it every year that I want to go back more and this and that, and then it never happens, but I genuinely am going to try to go back soon. I also have to mention that the lap in the lifted Volvo that we did got picked up by the guys at Auto Addiction. They make these awesome compilations of Nürburgring action during a weekend or a day, and we actually got featured in one of his videos, so I'm going to post a link to that in the description. So guys, that is pretty much going to be it for today's video. If you have any questions or remarks, feel free to put them in the comment section below. I read every single one of them. And if you enjoyed watching this video, consider giving it a like and subscribing to my channel. In the next video we are going to be working on the Saab again, so I hope you all are excited for that. Until next time.